Okay, so if you're all ready, I can kind of point out what we had done. Okay, so remember we had created a student class. The easiest, I mean, in Java, for the description of the class, there is not much. That's all I asked in the assignment, and there is not much to it. All you can say is this class defines a employee object or a student object or whatever with attributes and related methods, right? That's the only description you can put in a class, kind of. Like, what else could you say? You don't say there are methods to set and get. You don't have to say all that. And that's 1 mark. So if you forget it or if you mess it up, I've been kind of a little lenient this time in assignment 1, but like that's the only Java doc comments I asked, and people haven't even provided that. You can't create your own ats. The at author has to be called at author with a small a. You can't make it capital. The version has to be spelled exactly like this. You can't say at student number. There's nothing called at student number, right? So these are fixed. You can use version, since, what else? There is a deprecated one, date, which we don't use, but you have to look them up. What are available? So I usually use version, and sometimes I've used since, though since is not so useful for me. And I've always kept a description, a small description. So if I ask something, be kind enough to give it. Otherwise, it's kind of, I have to take off dock of marks. Like I can do nothing about it. You know what I mean? Like if I've asked it, I want it. If I say use the toString method, that's exactly what I want to see. If I say use the get methods, that's exactly what I want to see. So I don't know, when I mark things, I don't know you. You know what I mean? Like I know you from class when I teach in class, but when I'm marking assignments, I'm just doing it according to my marking scheme. So though I know you know how to do it, I can't assume anything. So if you haven't done the toString method, you lose a mark. If you haven't used the get methods, but instead written the toString, call the toString, unfortunately, I can give you marks. So be careful about these small, silly mistakes, right? These are silly because you're just losing marks without any reason. So logic things are different, but silly mistakes are different. So that assignment 1, that is that I hopefully, if not tonight, by tomorrow I should put up the marks. I have to finish everybody before I put up the marks. Okay, so I think there are 10 more to go, and I should be okay by tomorrow. Tomorrow I don't have classes, so I should be able to finish them. Next week I see you on Wednesdays and Thursdays. The announcement is already on Blackboard. We have the midterm for both my classes. Midterm is next week. Hands-on class examples, your assignments, and if required, the Java API or the MySQL website, the manual, right? I'll allow you that. Otherwise, leaving that, honesty, right? Do your own work, and that's what I require. Okay, so no multiple choices, no true, false. I can make them. It's so tough to make those kind of questions in programming. So we'll stick to that. And I'll try to mark them in the study week so that you have your marks by the next week that you come after the study week. Okay. Okay, a few things here before I leave this and do the product class with you. Something that a student brought up, and which was really interesting in the sense that I thought like it was working, and we took an example and it did not work. So remember, the data of the student is a string student name, a string ID, a string program name, and importantly, what I'm going to kind of bring your attention today is to the array list contains method, which we've used twice in this project, right? Now, there is a difference between how the contains method works if it is an array list of strings, which, as you know, though is an object. String is a class. We know we are dealing with string objects, but it has been kind of taken care of behind the scenes that we don't have to do new. We can initialize a value to a string object. And the contains method by default checks the contents of the string, not the addresses. Right? So let me try to explain what is the difference between a simple variable and an object first, and then maybe this will come clear. A normal variable, whether it be an int or a float, is called a value box, right? So if I say int I is equal to 10, this is what my picture is. It's a value box. Inside that box called I, it's a memory location, there is the value 10 is stored. These are basic data types in Java. This is the only place in Java where it is non-object oriented. Everything else is object oriented. So these basic data types, ints and floats and doubles, chars and booleans, long int and all flavors of those ints, that's the only place. Everything else is an object. So when everything else is an object, we had a red pen here and it's gone now. And I don't think, do you see it somewhere? Oh, there, okay. Oh, that's a nice one. Something says hey. I can make out the name, but something says hey. Nice drawing. Okay, so now let's look at the object. Like how are objects different from data values? So an object is a reference box. So this is called a value box, where the value is inside the memory address in a box, whereas objects are reference boxes. So if I have a string variable, I'm just taking string because they're the easiest, called name, and I put value Anju into it, then this is what happens. This box called name does not have Anju inside it. It has the address of the memory location which has Anju inside it. That's a reference box, right? That's a reference box. So what's inside here? It's the address. It's a memory address. So if this box is at memory address M, this is what is here. This is what's inside this box. So not the value, the address where the value is stored. That's the difference between a value box and a reference box. And in Java, everything is a reference box, except your basic data types. Okay. Now I want to talk about the contains method of an array list, because there is where the error is. Something we kind of didn't think about last week when we were doing it. Okay, now when I say contains, remember the contains method of the array list? You have an array list. It has some objects inside it. So when I say objects, again, they don't have the objects, they have addresses of objects. Keep that in mind. Or whatever, right? And now I want to check whether another object is contained in this array list. That's what the contains method does. It says if it is contained, it will give you a value of true, I think, and if it is not, it gives you a value of false. Now there's a difference between an array list of strings and an array list of other objects. What happens in strings is this, and I'll tell you why it happens. In an array list of strings, though it is again a reference, a reference, a reference, a reference, and a reference, and maybe the values are maybe Anju, maybe Matthew, maybe Tai, and maybe Pranav. Right? So these are the values. Now if I say, does this array list contain Anju? This is what it does. Let's take time. Let's take time because he's down the list, right? Does the array list contain Tai? This is what is done by the contains method. Looks at the first object, at the first cell, looks at what it points to, and looks at the contents of it. Anju? No, not equal to Tai. Second, Matt? No, not equal to Tai. Third, Tai, yes, equal to Tai, and it says yes, it contains it. Seems like that's what contain should do. And that's exactly what it does, but only in strings, because the strings equals method has been overridden in the string class. And what does the equals method do? It compares the contents of the object to whatever you are comparing. Only for that reason, the equals method that's coming from the object class, which just simply compares the addresses of two objects, that has been overridden in the string class to compare the contents of the two objects, right? Now let's look at any other array list like we had, an array list of students. Do you remember we had an array list of students? We had an array list of students somewhere. There it is, of students. There it is. Now when I use the contains method in this, let's look at the picture of this array list. Okay, so what does it again have? It has an address where a student object is saved, an address of a student object, an address of a student object, and so on and so forth, right? And inside the student, there is a name, there is an ID, there are credits, and so on. There is data inside, not one piece of data, many pieces of data. Now if I say, and suppose there is a student called, I'm just putting it at position 3, there's a student with my name like Anju, there's a student. And I want to say, does this array list contain an object, right? That's what I'm saying, contains. By default, it will not go and look for the contents of the object and match with the contents of the object. That's not what it does. It matches the address of what you are saying contains. So suppose this is the student object that I want to say, are you contained in this? Now this is pointing to somewhere in memory, right? It is pointing to somewhere in memory, of course. And these all are again addresses. And suppose there is an object with exactly my information, ID 1, name Anju, and credits 10C. And this student object also has the same contents, 1, Anju and 10. But this contains will give a false. Because by large, which equals method is this using? The objects equals method. And what does that do? It compares two addresses, not the content. So it works in string because the two equals method has been overridden. It looks at the contents and matches them. But that's not what it does here. Not in any array list of anything else except strings. So if you want to kind of see, is the object information already in my array list, either you search the array list by something like an ID, because we've said IDs will be unique, or you will have to override the equals method in your class to say, I want to compare the IDs. Right? Otherwise, contains will do what? This is an object called student, which is pointing to a memory address M. Who knows what that M is, right? Somewhere that M object got created. And then there is an array list, which again has addresses of student objects. Irrespective of whether the contents of a student object are same as this student object that you are searching for, it won't say yes, it won't say contains. Contains only compares addresses. You have to be very careful about that. So it behaves in strings properly because strings to equals method has been overridden. It says I will compare the address, won't compare the addresses, I will compare the contents, because a string is a string, only one value. But what about other objects? An object can have any number of instance fields. So what do you want to compare? Do you want to compare the ID? Do you want to compare the name? Do you want to compare the credits? The system doesn't know what you want to compare. So you can't assume that when you're saying contains, it will compare each and every field, and if they are equal, we'll say, oh, you're there. That doesn't happen. So using the contains method in this lab class where we were going to add a student and we said, oh, the parent list already contains it, we can't add it, is incorrect. Is incorrect. We'll have to match the IDs to say, oh, yes, that student is already present or that student is not present. So I'll show you two ways of doing it. One, you can change the method here itself. Instead of contains, you will compare the IDs, the student IDs, because we are assuming that student IDs are unique. Or two, or the second way is you can override the equals method of the object class in your class student lab class, where now when you say contains, it automatically calls the equals method. Equals method is going to compare IDs, and if they are equal, your object is contained. You have to understand the difference between how contains work only for the string and how it works for all other objects. Is it making sense? Right? So here with the student class, we were okay. We said if this student, when you enroll a student, student, get the student name, set the student name, get the student ID, set. Here, with courses enrolled, it is nothing but it's an arrays list of strings. It's an array list of strings. So when you say, oh, does it already contain the new course? It's fine. It says, yeah, I'll go and check the contents, and it works. It will work because it's comparing the contents and not the addresses. And we can test it. I'll show you how to test it. So let's see. Let me prove what I'm saying. So do we have an empty? No, we don't. Okay, so let's try. I'll show you what I mean. Whereas, before I leave, whereas this lab class in which the students is basically an array list of student objects, and you've used the contains method, that will not work as we think it will work. Oh, and there's another thing I must mention now that I see it. Where are you? Here, this will not work. This will not work as we thought it would work. Here it is comparing two addresses, not contents. So this just simply saying, do you contain it? Doesn't make sense at all. It will only make sense if you create an object in the tester and add it, and then you add the same object again. Then it will say, yes, I contain. But if you put the same information in another object and then add it, it will be added because it has a different address. So here we were wrong, right? Here we were wrong. And I'll show you, I'll prove it to you that I'm right in the strings and I'm wrong here, and we'll then write a solution, right? So we'll write a solution. I just wanted to point this out for you because it is really important. And yesterday the student said, but you said objects, Java has everything as objects, and objects are reference variables. And I said, yeah, makes sense. So I thought that's what contains does, but I was wrong. Right? Contains does work with strings because it compares the contents, but not with anything else. And that also not by magic, because the equals method in the string class has been overridden to compare the contents. It's no magic. It's just that it has been overridden. So we can override it to mean what we want to do, and it will work. Okay. Another thing that I must point out, and then I'll remove before I put it back on Blackboard. Remember how we were talking about formatting this, and Matthew had brought up this format method, and which was much easier, where you were showing it. And I'd said, no, the ternary operator will also work, and it's fine. There is a small problem in the ternary operator. What if it is exactly 12 o'clock? Then it will say 0 something PM. I mean, I said if it was less than 12, it is an AM, right? And if it is greater than equal to 12, it is a PM. But what did I do? I subtracted 12 hours. So if it is, say, 12:35 in the afternoon, it will become 0:35 when it prints it. Right? It will say PM, but there is nothing called 0:35 PM. So we'll have to add that extra. So if we are going to use the ternary operator, we'll have to do a small if before it. Something like if hour is 12, leave it alone kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So the ternary operator is fine for less than 12 and greater than 12, but it is not right for just 12, like 12, 12. So you'll have to add another. If you're using the ternary operator, you will have to say if the hours is equal to 12, if the get hour is equal to 12, then you just put PM with it. We don't have to do anything. We say whatever is PM, right? So that has to be taken care of. So I think I'll remove it before I put it on Blackboard, because I don't want you to think, oh, that's right? We missed out the 12. We missed out the 12. I didn't think about it. I said, oh, less than 12, it is an AM. 12 or more is a PM. Subtract 12 and your work will be done. But there is a special case when it is the hour from 12 to 1 is a special case. Then you don't have to minus 12 in that case. So you could, if you like, you could kind of maybe change this. Can we put another ternary operator inside a ternary operator? I think so, logically. Can't we? Yeah, I mean, we could. I mean, here, instead of saying end time minus hours 12, I put an if here. I say if it is greater than 12, then minus it. Else don't do anything. So let's put it, and then I think it should work. Okay, so we can put another ternary operator inside it. So what are we saying? Get hours. Oh, I'll have to use the get hours again. Oh, well, I usually tell you not to use it more than once, but if I want to keep it. So I'm saying if it is equal to 12, then we don't do anything. Else we subtract hours from it, 12 hours, and then put the word PM after it. There. Let me see if syntactically I'm okay because of brackets. Do I see a red squiggly? Yes, I see a red squiggly. Oh, what doesn't it like? Oh. Expression expected after this token.
Yeah, you didn't put the true one. If it's true, what to do?
I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything is all I mean. Okay, so if I do this, what should I? Oh, then I just have to use end time dot get hour, right? Yes. Okay. Or just, sorry, just or 12. Yeah, you could say just 12 because that's a special case. I could just say 12 here. Except that, will it say 12 point whatever? How are we showing this? We are saying end time is less than 12. Show the end time plus AM. If end time, we were saying show.
You don't even need the if.
Because we were subtracting it. I don't want to subtract it if it is equal to 12. So that's why I'm putting that.
We don't need a if keyword here. It would be
oh, yeah. No, why? It's a ternary operator. You have to put an if, right? Oh, yeah. So sorry, I'm talking ternary and I'm writing if, right? So, okay. So if the end time hour is 12, then what do I have to use? I have to use the end time itself, right? Am I okay? Yes. Otherwise, I have to minus 12 from it and put the word PM. See here what we were doing. If the end time was less than 12, we were just putting the end time and AM with it. That's what we were doing, right? And now the third is if the get hour is equal to 10. is hour equal to 12, I just want to put end time, else I want to put end time minus 12 and then put PM with it. It still doesn't like it. The left-hand side of an assignment must be a variable. That's strange. I mean, it should just...
Okay, it's not equal, it's double equal something.
Yeah, that's an assignment. Yep, you're right there. Could that be it? No, it doesn't like it at all. Now what? Now what? Unreachable code. Oh, because of this return. Okay, there we are. We are good now. Right? I was just trying to do it syntactically. Sometimes you think it will work. So what did I do in the third one? Instead of just subtracting 12, I kind of put another ternary if in it. Come on. Where are you? Here. Let me just do it this way. Then I'm not going anywhere. I put another one inside. That's what I did. So now what does it say? So remember, 1 is less than 12, so you put AM with it. If it is more than 12, you check again. If it is exactly 12, you say, show me the end time. Otherwise, you subtract 12 hours from it and then add the word PM to the end of it. Still, I still think Matthew's way is much better because it exactly gives you hours and minutes. And this one will give you hours, minutes, seconds, and nanoseconds if you were, say, picking up the now time, for example. Right? If you were picking up the now time. So it will, I mean, it will look, or of course, if you only passed the hour and minute, then it will show you the hour and minute. But if the time had something like now, we picked it up from the system clock, then you will see all 4 pieces of data. But it is correct, syntactically it is correct. So I had made a mistake there. So we'll have to do the same thing in the other one also. Am I okay with my brackets? I should be, otherwise it would say, right? I need 1 inside. Yep, okay, so I'll pick this up. Aren't I one more? This is this one. This is this. Oh, no, I'm okay. I put the whole thing in the bracket. So I'm going to, so after the AM, I'm going to take this ternary operator again. What is this last bracket I have? Oh, okay. I'm going to take this and I'm going to use the same thing in start time. Remember, we had 2 of them. And I'll replace it. Oh, I'm doing a 2-string. Do I have to do a 2-string? No, it works without 2-string also. Here, start time is working without 2-string. So I don't need to. And I'll replace it here. So since it is on Blackboard, it has been posted on Blackboard, I'll see that it is correct, okay? That's my aim. So again, instead of just subtracting 12 from it, what the... Okay, so instead of just subtracting 12 from it, I'll replace it and then we'll say start time. Start time. Start time. Now it should work. It should work both ways. First start time, T is capital. Now it should work. Just so that I know it works, let me remove this. Let me put it here. And yep, looks okay now. So let's test it. We already have the tester. I think we had a time in the tester, right? Of pattern. Oh, I just showed you that it works here. Oh, well, okay, doesn't matter. Hopefully it will work. But that was a small mistake, but it's something we missed. I missed it and nobody pointed it out, but that's okay. At least now we know, right? We missed out the 12. And again, a student pointed out in the other section and I realized that I had missed it out. So that's how you will kind of rectify it. Right? You will put another ternary in the third part. You're saying if it is a 12, leave it alone. If it is not a 12, subtract 12 from it. And then put PM with it. So we are okay now. Right? And I didn't use a 2-string because I think by default it will do a 2-string. Can we check it? Maybe we should, just to be on the safe side, right? Since I have a tester ready, let me do it. So let's do this. Let's do a system out println. And let me put it inside it. Oops, and inside it. And instead of end time, we'll have to use local time everywhere. Time, sorry, just the word time. If it works, then we know it works. We already tested that the formatter works. We'll try different times, especially the 12 o'clock. Remember, always test, always test. It's just how it is. Any extra? Okay, we have an extra one maybe here. There is a here. Looks okay now. So this is 2640. 2640 is a, oh, that's an incorrect time anyway. Okay, so let's go 1240. Right, 1240. So we should see 1240 in both of them. So let's work it out. 1240, right? The PM and the PM is, I think, because of how the other formats it. So the small e should have shown a small PM, but maybe it shows a big PM. So it works, right? Let's try something less, like a 1040 should work, AM. Right? And then, of course, anything greater than should work. Right? Oh, mine has a 02. That's another untidy part about it, that it will show 02. And if it's exactly 12, it should work, right? We've just said show the time. Yep, it works. So it's fine. Now it's fine. Okay, so that was another mistake. That was another mistake that was in the lab class. 12 was not taken care of. So I'll stick to Matthew's one just because it's one. It's reusing something and you don't have to bother. The format is much neater. No logic is required. But I leave this for you so that just remind me before I go to put it back. There. Yes.
If we want to show 12 a.m., what can we show?
12 a.m.?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's, oh, you mean 12 a.m. Then you'll have to go. Remember at 12 a.m. in 24-hour clock that's 12 a.m. I mean, you don't have to give twice, I think. I don't know why am I giving it twice just by habit, but that's 12 a.m. So that's a good point. Let's see if it works, right? Anything less than 12. Devinder has a point there. Anything less than 12.
So it will be 00.00 AM.
AM or PM?
AM it's less than 12.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, but it will look odd, but that's what it is. It is what, but will it show, it should show 12 a.m. and not 00 a.m.
It's 00 AM.
No, in 24-hour clock, it's 00 a.m. In our 12-hour clock, it's a 12 a.m.
24 hours, there is no AM, PM.
Exactly. So when I input the time as 00, in 12-hour clock, it should show a 12 a.m. But it will show a 00 a.m. I'm sure. We haven't taken care of a fourth condition, that means. Let's try. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's what it is. See, it should show a 12 a.m. So there's another condition we've missed. See how we don't think and then we try some, and I didn't even try it. I didn't think of it. Thanks, Devinder. So now that's something else we have to take care of. I'll do it afterwards, okay? But I mean, I'll have to put another ternary in the first part. So the equal has to be taken care of kind of separately. No, so we've taken care of 12, we'll have to now take care of 0. In the less than 12, we'll have to take care of 0. Right. Thanks, Devinder. Thanks for pointing that out. Again, see, so that day also, I wasn't thinking. I was just saying less than 12 and greater than 12. I don't know whether Navleen did it. You had a big if or whatever. Did you do the 0 and the 12 separately or no?
I did the 12 separately.
But not the 0. So now there's a problem of 0 also. So I'll rectify that afterward, guys, and then I'll load it back to Blackboard. But that's a good point. And again, we didn't think of it. So I think, as I still say not because we have so many things to check. I still think that how Matthew did was definitely easier and better. Was definitely easier and better. Like we don't have to think. Now we are stuck with the 0 condition. So we need another ternary operator wherever. Where was our end time? Oh, that was formatting it. Yeah, so this class should have it, right? Lab class had it, the return time. So you will have to put another. See how things keep coming up. Where is it? Oh, I'm in the wrong class. There it is. Yeah, so here also, this is what we'll do, Devinder. In here also, when we say start time is less than 12, we'll have to form another ternary operator. If it is equal to 0, we'll have to print 12 ourselves. You know what? I'll stick with Matthew's solution. But if you have to do the other thing, you should know that here are 4 conditions we have to take care of. In the less than 12, 0 has to be taken care of. In greater than equal to 12, the 12 has to be taken care of. And then there are the other normal. Okay, I'll figure out and I'll change it. right? Maybe now I can't use a ternary operator anymore. Maybe that will be the case at the end. Okay. Okay, so now let's see the other one, the other important aspect that we were talking about, the contains. Okay, and oh, this is what I was going to show you. Okay, I had gone to the tester to show you something. Okay, so let's create a string variable, name 1, and let's give Anju to it. Let's create another string variable, name 2, and remember there are two different variables with two different addresses, right? And let's give it Ria, just because Ria is paying attention. RIYA or RIA? Y. Okay, so we have two string variables, right? Let's create a student object. Is that student who is enrolling in courses? Can I show it? Let me show it here. Why even bother about those classes? Let's create an array list of strings. At least in this one I can show you, right? Let's create an array list of string names. Okay, so, oh, we'll have to import. Do you find, Matthew, do you find the IntelliJ much easier than Eclipse?
Yes.
The IDE, you use it too?
It's much faster and easier.
No, but faster is one thing. Like faster, I don't know how would you define faster. How will you know?
It doesn't show the methods, but like functions properties if you like hover over it, but it's much faster than this. Like it makes methods for you, gives you like linting.
Yeah, but we can make gets and sets and constructor by this. I want to see is it advantages, and then I'll kind of learn it well and then start using it. So I've just used it like I use Eclipse. You know what I mean? Like I haven't looked into its positive points yet. So I can use it, but I don't know if it's better than Eclipse in the sense because I haven't used it to its fullest functionality.
It's better in the way that it keeps giving you suggestions while you're typing.
Okay.
It keeps recording your variable names you're typing and everything. And while you're typing, it keeps giving you suggestions.
Okay, I can try. Like I thought it, I mean, I didn't find a big deal in it, but I haven't used it so extensively. I've only used it for a couple of weeks before the semester. I thought I would use it. I didn't know about it till I kind of researched a little. And then I thought I'll stick to Eclipse. Okay, so here is one. And let's create another name. Let's create a name 3. And again, in my name. So the contents are the same. See, the contents are the same. So there is one name 1, there is one name 3, both have Anju. And then there is a name 2 Ria, but there are 3 different variables. Let's add them to the array list. So let's go, okay, so we'll say this. If the names dot contains, right? I'm trying to see if I can write a method. Let me do that. Let's call add name method. I'll do this stuff in the add name. Let's add name 1. Let's add name 2. Whenever you want to do the same job more than once, always start creating. And guys, the convention in Java is camel case and Pascal case. There are no underscores. I haven't heard of an underscore convention in Java. Okay, so now what is this add name? We'll write a method. In this add name method, oh, we'll have to pass the array list also. Unless I make it global, which I don't want to. Okay, so I'm passing the array list name and I'm passing the object to be added. Okay, so I'm going to write an add name method right here. It's a public, it is a private method, could be private. I mean, it's anywhere tested. It's a private method, returns nothing. It's called add name, takes an array list of type strings, of type string. I'll call it names here again. And then it takes a string object. I'll call it name here again. What does it do? It tries to do an if this names contains the name you are passing, right? So I'm trying to see, does it contain it? Let's put a printout. Let's say system out println true, and else will print out false. Semicolon missing. Oh, not single quotes, double quotes. Maybe I should stick to double quotes in my SQL also. I'm kind of becoming lost in my Java with single quotes. Okay, so this is what it will do. Every time you pass a name, if it contains it, it will print true, and if it does not contain it, it is false. So I called it with Anju first, then I called it with Ria, and then I called it with Anju. And there are two Anjus, there are two different Anjus. You know what I mean? Like one is in name 1 and one is in name 3. They're two different objects. So let's see. And just to kind of prove my point, let me add this name 1 Anju. Let me add this name Anju 1 again, just for the heck of it, right? So is it comparing addresses or is it comparing contents? We should have true, 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 and true, according to the contains method of the string array list. These are all true. You should be able to add them, right? Oh, in the first one, not contains is false. Sorry, false, true, and a true, right? So the first one, does it contain it? No. The first time I add Anju, does it contain it? No, false. Does it contain Ria? No, false. What about this name 3? It's in a different object altogether, but the contents are same. So does it already contain Anju? True. And this name 1 also, does it already contain Anju? True. Irrespective of that, they are two different objects, right? Let's try this. Oh, something has an error. Error. No, cancel. The method is undefined. Oh, there is the problem. There's the problem. Still, now what? Add name void takes a list and a string. Oh, I've put it inside my main. That's the problem. Control X. Let's put it here, where nobody can see it. Okay, let's try it again. Still? What? Why? There is the class.
Can we simply reference to a method like this?
Yeah. It's a helper method.
Like we are referencing to a static class.
Oh, there the problem is. You have the answer. Static methods can only call static methods, right? The rule is static methods can only call static methods. So main was a static method. I was calling add name from it, and add name has to be static. What is static? Remember, you are using it without creating an object. So it has to be static. Otherwise, how will I use it? We should be okay now. Looks like we are okay now. Let's the red squigglies go. Yep, okay. Okay, so let's see. We are not concerned about time. See, everything is false. It doesn't contain it. Okay, let's look at it. Are we saying it right? Let's look at. Oh, it should be true and true for the last two. No? Oh. Thank you. See, we think it's so easy, and then something or the other, the static, it says if it contains it, I didn't add it, so how will it check if it contains it? So if it contains it, okay, what do we want to do? If it contains it, don't add it, else add it, right? Else add it. Now it has it. Okay, so what do we want to do? The first time it should add a false. The second time it should add a false. It already contains it. True? It already contains it. True. Okay. There. So it doesn't matter whether Anju is the same string or Anju is a different string. I'm trying to prove that it compares contents. And that's array list of strings, right? Not of anything else. Now, what can we do which will make our life easy? There is nothing else in an array list that I can kind of do. What do you think if I take them to be object? Right? Like object is a class, a valid class. I can say object name 1, object name 2, object name 3. And then I can, but they're strings. How will I initialize it? Just saying new object, but how will I see it? Uh-oh. Then I can now show you through through my lab class only. That's the only way I can show now. Right? So this proves that an array list of string works perfectly fine. Can you think of a class that is already available in Java who we can add to an array list easily and see something of it?
Well, we can't add like integers.
But remember, the integers with a capital I, we can. Yes. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's try that. Unless those also kind of behave like basic data types just because they're wrapper classes.
Maybe they also override.
Yeah. Oh, we can check. You know what? We can check. Why even think about it? We can check. So let's check the integer class. The integer class, okay, not the int. The integer class in Java. Let's see. Integer doesn't matter if it is an 8 or a 7. Integer is integer. See if it has an equals method that it has overridden. Equal e d there. Oh, compares this object to the specified object.
It says object.
It says object. No, has the same int value. Again, contents. So wrapper classes are also working with contents, and it makes sense, right? It makes sense. Okay, let's do this quickly. What else can I do? I don't have much option. Let's create some student objects. Let's create some student objects. Stu1. My Eclipse isn't helping. Should help, shouldn't it? Okay. So name, ID, program name. Why do I see two of them? Anonymous inner type. Did I do something with that? Okay. So student name, Anju, comma, student ID, 1, program name, Copa. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Let's do another one. What doesn't? Oh, that's what it doesn't like. Let's create another student. Let's try Ty this time. Shouldn't say that I'm biased towards girls there. And let's give him a 2. And then let's create another one. So Ty is student 2, and let's create another one for 3. And some easy name. I don't know. Navleen is a long name, but we'll go with Navleen. Okay, and let's go with 3. I should be able to add, you know what? Let's keep this. Same contents of stu1 and stu3. The contents are same, addresses are different. Right? Contents are same, addresses are different. And then Ty is a different object altogether. It has nothing to do with me. Even if it is 1, it really doesn't matter. If we are going to compare IDs, then it matters, right? Okay, let's try this now. Now create an array list of students. We can do that because we have the student class. Let's call them students. Let's go new array list of students. There. Okay, and let's try to do the same thing now. What are we passing to the other one? Oops, we'll have to write another add name. So let's go add student. We'll do the same thing. So let's add student to the students. Let's add stu1. Right? Let's again add stu2 and stu3. Same that we did before. Okay. So let's add stu2, which is Ty. Let's add stu1 again, that is me itself. And then let's add 3 again, which is exactly my contents, but a different object. And this is what I'm trying to prove to you now, that I should not be able to add, if it already contains, I shouldn't be able to add stu1 because addresses are same. But I should be able to add stu3. It's not comparing the contents, it's comparing the addresses. Okay, so let's write add student then. So add student will look exactly like, kind of like this. Always write helper methods, right? Then you don't have to keep writing the code over and over again. So let's call it add student is what we called it. Let me know if what I'm doing is not clear, right? I'm trying to prove to you that the contain methods behaves differently if you use a string, array list, or an integer, or a double, or wrapper classes, or we use any other object. Okay, so we'll call it students just for the heck of it. It really doesn't matter. You can leave it at name or just makes sense that you give them good names. Okay, so I'm going to add a student to the students. Right, so this is an array list of students, and that's a student. And then, of course, we'll have to do this. Let me do this. Remove the S from here and remove the S from here. Okay, so if it contains it, we will say true. And if it doesn't, if it contains it, we'll say true. It already contains it. So I must have false, false, true, false. I can add the student 3 again. Though it's Anju, 1 and Kopa, same contents, but different objects, right? So that's what I'm expecting. Does it contain? It contains no. So false, false, true, false. Okay, let's run it. Where are we? Before or after? The first thing, before, right? We did it before the names. The names came afterwards. Okay, let's try. Could I add Anju? Yes. Could I add Tai? Yes. Could I add Anju again? The same Stu1? No, it already contains it. Stu1 contains it. But the same Stu3, student 3 with the same data, false. So see, now you know that the contains is not comparing contents. The contain is comparing addresses. And that's what you have to keep in your head. It is comparing addresses. Which means that our lab class contains method where we said add the student or whatever. Where was it? Get, enroll. And in delete, in remove, what did we do in remove? Oh, in remove, we removed by the student ID. Though I'll show you in this one also that how you can overload it. That means this is incorrect. This is incorrect. So what is the solution? 2 solutions. Easier one, override the equals method in your class, right? So if you want to say student contains student, so you're basically comparing 2 student objects, override the equals method in your student class. Compare the IDs. If the IDs are same, you cannot add them. That's how you can kind of decide why if 2 students are same. You can't do anything else. IDs have to be different. Could be the same name, could be the same program, but the IDs have to be different. Or instead of this here, instead of contains here, what should you be comparing? You should be comparing the ID of the student that is coming in with the IDs of the students. So we'll have to do a for loop. We'll have to do it ourselves, right? That's another way. Both ways are absolutely fine. So do you want to see the easier way first? Easier means more how the system kind of does it. You can add, you can override the equals method. It belongs to the object class, okay? It's you exactly have to follow the same signatures, and I'm not very sure, but I'll try. It's a public method, equals, true or false. So it should be Boolean, right? It's an equals method, should be Boolean. You can always check. I mean, why am I even putting in so much effort into it? There it is, Boolean equals object. It's called equals, and it is expecting an object from you, right? The type should be object. Okay, so there. There, that's the method we have to override. In what case must it return a true? In what case must it return a true? It should return a true if the ID of this student that is coming in is same as the ID of the student with which you are comparing. Then it should return a true. And how will you compare it? And remember, this is, what is it saying? Add return statement. Okay, right, we will. Right, so you have to override this equals method. So what is your definition of override? What did the strings method do? The string class said, I'm going to compare the contents. What are you going to compare? The IDs. That's all you're going to compare, okay? So let's take a student object, S, and cast this. Remember, this is we are downcasting. You'll have to downcast this into a student object because we are comparing IDs. You know what I mean? You can't use an object.id. Okay, now what do you return? Okay, now return. What should you be returning? You should return, take your this, take its ID. Where are you, ID? And if it is it a string? Is it a string? Yes. Compare it with equals ignore case of the student who is coming in. Oh, not the student, sorry. Of the S dot get student ID. And here, that's your equals method. So remember, this downcasting is important because this wants to be an object. When you override a method, you cannot change its signatures. The equals method said, I need an object. So you let any object come. I just called it student because if it confuses you, I can do a stu here if you like, but it's just a student object. I mean, it doesn't matter what you call it, right? Really doesn't matter. What did I do then? I downcasted it into a student object. This is called downcasting. You're going from a higher object class to a lower class. Everybody else is a child, right? And then I said, if your IDs are equal, return it. If they are equal, remember equals ignore case returns either a true or a false. It returns a Boolean value. If they're equal, it will return a true. If it is not equal, it will return a false. An ID was a string, so I used equals ignore case. If it was an integer, I would have used the two equal signs. Now contains will work. Now it will work. So I've done this in my student class. Now your tester will work. Because I created a student object, now this will work. So what should I have? Should you be able to add Anju? This Anju, yes. This Tai, yes. This third Anju, no. And the fourth Anju, no. Oh, the IDs have to be same. Yep, the IDs have to be same. I can't add them. I can't add Anju. I can only do it twice. The first Anju and the first Tai. That's all I can do. I can't add this. I can't add student 3. I can't even add student 1 again now. I cannot. What is it comparing? IDs. Now the contains is working as it should work. We are not allowing duplicate student objects to be added. How do you add students? By IDs. That's what we are assuming, right? So now let's try. So what should you be able to do? Student should be able to, does it contain it? So we should have false, false, true, true, right? False, false, true, true. Now contains is behaving differently. Not by magic, we overrode the equals. So this is the easiest way to do it. The other way, which is more coding, would have been, and I'll put it for you if you like, the other way that would have taken more time you will have to do something like you did here. You'll have to use a loop, check the IDs, and if they are there, you will say I cannot add it, else you will add it. So maybe because I'm using two for loops twice, I'll just put a method called find student and use it, right? I can do that. And now actually you can even do this. See, now you can even do this. You can overload this method. Instead of passing the string, now pass the student object. You can even do this now. And all you have to do is if whatever contains, so this is removed, right? So we don't have to do this. Now this will become much easier. We don't have to do this. We'll have to say if, what is it? Oh, we need the remove s. Oh yeah, we can. Why not? Yeah, we can. Okay, so if students contains this object student, if it contains it, remove it. Now I can do this because I've already overridden my equals method. So I've overloaded the remove student. Here I'm searching the student by ID. Here I'm searching the student by ID. So I have to do by for loop myself, right? Here I'm passing the student object and I'm saying, do you contain that student? If you contain it, so if you contain it, remove him or her and return a true, else return a false. It will automatically compare the IDs because we've overwritten the equals method. And I could have done more. I could have said IDs are the same and the name is the same. I could have added an AND condition. I could check more. I only stuck with ID because I thought that's what is enough for us. But you will say no two persons can have the same ID and the same name. You can check both of them. You can check the name and the ID are same. And what will you do? You will just add an AND condition here. This, and get student name equals get student name. Yes.
When using this method, in the first line, a new student is added to the array list.
Yes, it will be.
So with the same ID if it's already presented.
No, it won't. No, you cannot.
With the name S, it won't be added.
No, with the same, you cannot add a student with the same ID, but you can add a name with the same name. Name is allowed. ID1 Anju, ID2 Anju could be two different persons. So I should be able to add them, right?
But if the student object contains an ID that's already present in the array list,
Then you shouldn't be able to add
so
it.
this won't work in the first part.
What do you mean by first part?
Where you say student S equals to students, you make it equal to the student object.
Yes, I've just downcasted it. I wanted to change this object into a student object. That's all I've done here.
So it's added into the student array list.
No. This is just downcasting.
So how it works?
Downcasting. How do you convert a float into an int?
Just like this one.
Casting. I'm exactly doing it. See, why am I doing it? What does the equals method wants from you? An object. So I can't put the word student here. I can do it. It won't. That's not overriding. I can do it. So what did I do here? I left it at object. So I said, okay, an object is coming to me, but I know that it is a student object. So I took that object and converted into a student object. And then I just compared it. This has nothing to do with adding it to the array list at all. It's you gave me something, but that something is called something. Now I want to call it student. And now then I look inside the ID and say, are the IDs? This is not adding at all. This is just checking to student. So it's like equals or equals ignores case method. That's all it is. It's a method that I've written. And what does my method do? It compares the IDs of two student objects. Which two student objects? One that you are giving it, and two with which you are comparing this dot. Right? That's exactly what you do when you use equals and equals. So when I call the contains method, the contains method takes the help of the equals method to see whether two objects are equal or not. And that's what it does. So now my contains will work. Now I'm fine. Now it will work. And it will. I've shown you in the tester. If it works in the tester, it will work here. Right? So that's the major difference. And I'm glad that somebody pointed it out. Like we all know that they are references, and still, like, I just assumed it because we are so used to using strings that we didn't even think about these objects. And I'm glad somebody pointed it out and we kind of worked on it, and here is the solution. Okay. So this solution now your contains is how it should be. I told you, you can do it another way. You don't have to do it how I have done it. In that case, you will yourself have to browse the whole array list. And if the IDs are same, then you know, oh, it already contains it. You can do that. Nothing stops you. I'll put that solution also for you. There's no big deal. I have it in the other section. I showed the other section. It's just doing it a different way, right? Let me see if I can quickly grab it for you. So this is, that's the Monday section. I think we did it in the Monday section. What is it? We are doing student lab BB. This was the lab class. I'll open it with TextPad so that then I can easily copy and paste. I think I showed them that they could do it that way. See here, that's the enrolled student. Notice, understand it, and then I'll put it. So in the enrolled student keeping the same signatures, I took a Boolean variable found and I kind of wrote a find student method that was always seeing if a student was present or not, right? So since I needed it so many times, I created a find student. I said, are your IDs equal? If yes, return a true. So you're already there. So I wrote this method find student. And then I used it in my enroll student. I said, okay, find the student. If the student was not found, add the student, else don't add the student. Same thing. Right? So if you want, I can kind of put it there and we can comment it out just because, and then remove student can also use find if required. So I removed a student by the student, same logic. But again, now that you know how to use the other option, you can use that too, right? So if you want, I can put this just so that you can see it. So I'll put all this in your code also. So I'll just put it and then I'll put it on Blackboard, okay? So that if you want, I can put it somewhere so that I know where I'm putting it. Yeah, okay, I'll put it here. I'll put it in comments so that it doesn't disturb us. There. This is another way of doing it. Kind of, I mean. Right? So here is another enrolled student. In this, I'm finding the student myself. The remove is a little different again. I mean, oh, in the remove we added, are there any students? Only then delete something. Did we do that? I mean, you can start thinking of, no, we didn't. We just said, oh, remove the student. Right? We simply said remove the student. What if there is no student at all in my class? Why even start the whole damn thing? Right? Shouldn't be using words like that. So you don't even have to do it. So before even starting to remove a student, check, is there a student in your class? Just an extra check, but it will save you, the whole for loop will be saved. Right? The whole for loop will be saved. So you can do that. It's just an extra check. And what does this extra check do? Makes your program more foolproof. So here you say, if there is something, then do it. There. Only then try to find him or her. Makes it better. I mean, the first one was not wrong, but the whole for loop, it will stop. I mean, you'll say, oh, it's just a contain, so it will stop. Yeah, but why even bother about checking the contains? So I'm saying, if you are greater than 0, then look for it. And you can do it in both your remove students. There's another remove student here. If you are greater than 0, if there is something. So notice here the for loop will not even take place. Why should it? Improves your code. So again, it may happen that your first draft may not always be the best. It does happen, right? When I write it, I do it and then I come to class and I do it again with you guys. Sometimes you come up with questions and I realize I've missed something. And that's how it is. Because I haven't tested it as well I should, right? Like I didn't test the 0 and the 12. That was just the spur of the moment I did it in class. But when we are thinking together or we are doing something new or somebody asks me something, things can move up. So I think this one greater than 0 must have come up. Oh, why do we even check if there is nothing in the list? Though the for loop will terminate right, the contains will terminate right, but still, why do it? So you can improve your code to the nth degree. You just need a little more time, right? You do it and you do it. So this is the third time I'm doing it, right? So I've improved it to a third level. So I did it with the other section. They had questions, and I did it with you first, then the other section, and now this is the fourth time. So every time we look at code, we are improving it. But I wanted to let you know how that contains a method works. So be very careful. You have to, I mean, we know it. We know that Java is an object-oriented language. Everything in Java is an object except the basic data types, right? So keep that in mind. They're all reference variables. So whenever any method is working with addresses, every method is working with addresses. When you're working with non-basic data types. The wrapper classes could be a little different, as we found out, but there it is. Okay. So all this I'll put back on Blackboard for you guys so that you have it. I'm hoping if you're attending classes or if you're in class, you kind of can make sense out of what we are trying to do. Like I try out so many things and I say this could be done, this could be done, but it's just it's what it is. So, oh, before I'll put it, I'll change that. When you go on break, I'll change the time method also, the ternary operator for 0. I'll see that also works. I can't put something that doesn't work. Okay, so that takes care of the student lab class. That Kai, I'm hoping that's done with that class. So you learned a few new things there for sure, something that you may not have learned or may have not paid attention to in your first semester course, but now we know a little better, right? So my next aim now, we'll take a break and then I'll start the new one, but my next aim now is to basically give you a little introduction to, or maybe refresh your memories. I don't know where you stand with exception handling, right? I mean, I've heard that you did a little in your semester 1, but I don't know, again, like it's not even in my course, it's in advanced Java, but I'll still do it because the situation arises very quickly. For example, set the salary to the value given if it is greater than 0. What if it is less than 0 or equal to 0? Do we leave the previous value alone? Do we assign a value of 0 to it? Or do we throw an exception and say something is wrong with the value you gave, right? So again, there are a few ways you can do it. So till now we've said, okay, if something is correct, use it. If it is incorrect, leave it alone. But what does that leave it alone means? Leave it alone means I'm not changing anything. Yeah, you can say the front end has already validated the value that is coming in, So if it is asking for the age will never be negative for me. Whatever it comes up, it will be positive. The price, the quantity, these will all be positive. But still the class can say, okay, I'll give you some kind of a message which will tell you that something is not right. So I won't keep quiet or I won't use a default value, but I'll give you a message back. And that can be done through exception handling. Okay, and we'll do exception handling. So for that, you will need the product class that I've put on Blackboard under weekly learning, maybe. It's just called product. It's just one class I've given you. So we'll download that and I'll work on that for the rest of the class, right? We'll have to kind of remember it because the second assignment is based on that class. So when you come back, if you need, I'll quickly refresh your memories. But I can't put the assignment till I do it with the other section, which will unfortunately have to be after reading week. I'll see if I get time to make a quick second assignment for you. I'm trying to give you 2 assignments before the study week and 2 after so that it's kind of equal. Otherwise, you'll have to do more in the other half. You know what I mean? We have to make up 40%. So that's why I'm trying to give you 1 more. Otherwise, the second part will be loaded with assignments. You'll have to do 3 at least. Remember, there's 40% for assignments. The bonus ones just don't work for everybody. So I've kind of made them bonus. Okay, so we'll take a break and I'll put this on Blackboard for you once I've made that change to the ternary operator stuff, and then we'll come back and start class at around 3:30 again. Okay, so this is saved. Let me make a change and then I'll put it on Blackboard.